Order. Good morning. Today, the committee comes together for a legislative hearing on several bills. I appreciate the opportunity to work with Senator Heinrich, the subcommittee ranking member, to address key issues in our energy portfolio. This hearing will allow us to receive testimony and ask questions from the Assistant Secretary for the Office of Electricity, Mr. Bruce Walker, and the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Oil and Gas from the Office of Fossil Fuel, Mr. Sean Bennett. The Department of Energy will play a critical role in helping the U.S. and the world lower emissions, which is, of course, a global problem. If we want to be leaders, we need to provide a model that others can follow, and part of that model is showing the world that through innovation, we can lower emissions and maintain a modern economy. Though through technological breakthroughs such as carbon capture and energy storage, we have the opportunity to show such a model. However, if we are to reach these breakthroughs, we must ensure that right policies are in place to set up success. There's been promising breakthroughs in each area, and I hope we can continue to build. One of the bills on the docket I've been working on with my colleague, Senator Cornyn, is S-1685, the Launching Energy Advancement and Development Through Innovations for Natural Gas Act, or the Leading Act. This bill requires the U.S. Department of Energy to establish a research, development, and demonstration program for carbon capture technologies for use by natural gas generating power facilities. I want to acknowledge the hard work that DOE is already doing to develop such technology for both coal and natural gas. But as we continue to increase natural gas consumption, new challenges arise, and we must keep natural gas competitive. The U.S. is leading the world in lowering emissions by increasing its use of natural gas and other innovative resources. Natural gas is now the main source of energy in the U.S., generating 35.1% of our electricity in 2018, and the U.S. Energy Information Administration expects this number to continue to rise for the foreseeable future as more gas comes online. Natural gas emits 50 to 60% less carbon dioxide when combusted in natural gas power plants compared with other sources. It also supports the deployment of renewable energy. Gas power plants can quickly and safely ramp up and down to combat volatility of renewables. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, a 1% increase in the share of fast-reacting power source is associated with almost a 0.9% long-term increase in renewable generation. Investment in gas is able and necessary to support increased use of renewables. Developing cost-effective carbon capture technology for natural gas plants will help the U.S. continue to lower emissions while creating jobs and supporting domestic energy production and security. Other bills on today's docket include several energy storage bills that would each authorize funding to encourage energy storage, research, development, and demonstration. The S-143, the Department of Energy's Veterans Health Initiative Act, introduced by Senator Ernst, authorizes DOE to conduct collaborative research with the Department of Veterans Affairs to improve health care services for veterans in the U.S. S-983, the Weatherization Enhancement and Local Energy Efficiency Investment and Accountability Act of 2019, introduced by Senator Coons, reauthorizes and modernizes the DOE's Weatherization Assistance Program. S-1857, the Federal Energy and Water Management Performance Act of 2019, introduced by Chairman Mikowski, improves federal energy and water performance requirements and formally authorizes the Federal Energy Management Program. S-1064, the Appalachian Energy for National Security Act, introduced by Ranking Member Manchin, requires DOE, in consultation with the Department of Defense and Treasury, to conduct a study and issue a report on the national security benefits of the proposed ethane storage and distribution hub located in Appalachia. Lastly, H.R. 1138, introduced by Representative Reed, would reauthorize the West Valley Demonstration Project in West Valley, New York. I now turn to my colleague, Ranking Member Heinrich. Thank you. Mr. Bennett, there is a mega trend towards using more natural gas for electricity generation. What % of your carbon capture research is specific for natural gas as opposed to combined with efforts related to coal?
Chairman Cassidy, and again, we truly appreciate your comments earlier about CCUS, and as well as really regarding this important topic and really the commitment of this committee. And I do not have an exact number for the percent. I can say that we do have 97 active projects working.
Now, if I can interrupt, just because we have limited time, it's my understanding, now it's my understanding, not my foolproof knowledge, that most of the effort is going towards coal, even though, whatever we think of it, the generation of electricity by coal is declining, with many more retirements envisaged, and the amount of generation by natural gas is growing significantly and will continue to grow. It's now, I think, 35% of the grid, as I mentioned. So why would DOE not have more of an effort that is specific, not just for natural gas, but also for the later technology, which is the combined cycle natural gas plant?
Chairman Cassidy, and that is a great question. So when you look at CCUS technology, over the past 10 years, we have spent approximately $4 billion in CCUS technology. While that has been mainly focused on coal, we currently have about 5 projects that are working both on flue gas and natural gas, as well as coal. And currently—
Now, let me come back, because as well as coal, so you got 95 projects, 5 of which include natural gas, but none of which are specific for natural gas. Now, why would you not have one which is specific, not just for natural gas, but also for the combined cycle, which is, of course, a different set of technologies, which I'm told allow gas to be captured at different points along the way, not just in the flue?
Chairman Cassidy, and we are currently, through the National Carbon Capture Center, actually retrofitting a natural gas boiler to test additional technologies specifically for natural gas. Now, regarding the technology that goes into carbon capture, the applications remain mainly the same between coal and natural gas.
Now, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, and I hesitate to do so because you're the expert. But I'm told that if you retrofit a coal plant for gas, it's not as efficient, number one. Number two, it won't be combined cycle. And number three, whereas in coal it's in the flue, in combined cycle there's numerous steps along the way. And so I go back to, if we have an increasing amount of gas and a decreasing amount of coal, but the focus is basically, it sounds like, 99% upon coal, with kind of the, you know, I don't want to be rude about this, but kind of the stepchild treatment of gas, that seems to be a kind of ignoring a megatrend. Does that make sense?
No, Chairman Cassidy, I do understand and the question, and again, as you did mention, natural gas is playing a more predominant role in electric generation. But again, when we look at the carbon capture, we are focusing more towards natural gas. You're starting to see that with the carbon capture. Actually, we had Exxon and Total just join the NCCC, the National Carbon Capture Center, since they are interested in natural gas capture. So that is a focus that the Department of Energy is taking on as well. Now, historically, it has been focused on coal. You are correct there, but it has also had applications within natural gas as well. And really, you know, I can understand with the flue gas comment, there are definitely differences. However, when you look at carbon sequestration and the amount of carbon that comes out of coal-fired power plants versus the carbon that comes out of natural gas power plant, obviously is significantly more. The success that we do have in coal-fired generation with CCUS is applicable to natural gas, because if we are successful there, can be applied to natural gas and be more commercially and economically viable.
I'm going to interrupt just for the sake of time. I accept what you're saying as a theoretical, but as an applied, we do not know, because apparently we're applying it in the one and not the other. And part of this committee is coming up with initiatives that other countries can follow, and other countries are obviously using more and more natural gas. So that would just be the strong encouragement from this member of this committee. Mr. Walker, you gave a kind of a paradoxical statement at the outset. You, on the one hand, said that our grid will be more decentralized and therefore more secure. And then you, in multiple other areas, spoke about wholesale integration, using AI to kind of take all the bulk power around the country and to integrate. And seasonal transmission, which I assume, again, if we're shipping something from the panhandle of Texas to the Northeast in the wintertime, then that's going to be integrated across different grids. So what is it? Are we decentralized or are we more integrated than we ever were? Do you follow what I'm saying?
I think so, Senator. So the statement I was making was that, today and over the last 20 years, we've been transitioning from a bulk power system with generation, transmission lines, and load without much penetration of renewables. Obviously, over the last 20 years, that transition has significantly increased, as has the fuel sources, as discussion has been ensuing, with regard to the generation sources for each of the generation capacity components. The point I'm making is, one, today what we're pushing is bulk power storage, as well as other types of storage. It's not the only type of storage, but the long duration storage to be able to work through some of the challenges that we have on our transmission and generation system today, particularly as we integrate megawatt scale renewables. So today—
I'm still not sure I'm getting, you say we're decentralized, but if we're going to have bulk power utility grade storage, then that's not decentralization. That is still resident within a power plant, presumably, and then going through the same transmission lines.
Senator, it depends on how the system's designed. Today, I would argue that our system is fundamentally centralized with a small portion of megawatt scale renewable penetration in the system. As we add in bulk power storage, it will become less and less centralized, because that storage will be able to be utilized in various levels of the system.
I got it. So it'd be two poles. Right now it's the power plant. Now it'd be the power plant plus the bulk storage.
Bulk storage, and bulk storage will also be able to be utilized on the distribution system as well.
Now, I'm going to ask for, we'll have a question for the record.
Sure.
And several things you've mentioned that are very promising, but we don't have a sense of the time horizon. And so we'll ask both the time horizon and the projected expense of full deployment as just a QFR. And I think my ranking member has a follow-up question.